Hi, lovely people. Lots and lots of blessings for you on this wonderful day. So today's energy is red, self-existing Skywalker. And yeah, I feel to make a little video about time because this is something that since aligning with the calendar, 4 or 5 years ago in Gregorian terms, this is the thing that's kind of ringing truer and truer and truer, and like the time travelers that we are, we're kind of realizing more and more about time. And I'm personally having lots and lots of downloads about it, so it's like, right, okay, let's actually share what's going on, as opposed to just sitting and writing about it or sitting and thinking about it. So this idea of time is something that it's like the religion of the world that every single person buys into. Even though it's a concept that's been created by somebody, every single person on the planet at this time, generally, is using a mechanical clock and a Gregorian calendar. Now, this represents, for me, the way that the masculine energy, like on the planet, has dominated. And masculine energy, when I talk of masculine energy, I'm not talking about men, I'm talking about the energy of masculine energy, right? So that's all about the linear, it's all about the mind, it's all about thinking, it's all about being linear and effective and efficient. And I'm looking outside right now, and I can see a very pruned garden, which is beautiful, but it's pruned. And next to that, there's a layer of tarmac on the earth. Now, that tarmac on the earth has been put there because of this masculine energy, in order to make it more efficient, in order for cars to be able to pass over it. And what cars permit is this speed of movement. Cars allow people to get to work on the right time. Cars allow, it's like all of this efficiency program that we've been running. And, this idea of mechanical time is, the representation of that. So, it makes us very efficient. It means that, I can go to a train station, and I know if I arrive at the train station at that certain time, I can get on that train unless something wobbles it. It means that, we can organize meetings with one another. So, I'm honoring this grandfather time and what it has brought to us, but also I just want to highlight that it's bullshit, that it's been made up. And, even though it's been made up and it's got lots of benefits, also on the flip side of all of the benefits of this energy prevalence and this mechanical time that's been created as a result of that, there are loads of downsides to it as well. So we're kind of living in this space of not having enough time. And the majority of people have not even explored time as a concept. It's just been like it's a given, accepted thing. Okay, my clock says that it's this time, so I've got that amount of time until that thing happens. What does that even mean? And it's this like lack mentality as well. It's like not ever having enough time and constantly like on the hamster wheel, trying to keep up with this ever increasing pace. And yeah, that kind of, what would we do if we didn't have this mechanical time? Like, it's just something to ponder. When I share these things, I don't want to come from a space, and I don't feel that I am coming from a space of, I might get passionate about it, but I'm totally open to holding concepts, and I don't expect other people to take on these concepts. But at the same time, let's just think about it, or not think about it. Let's feel about it. And, just what is it all about? And is it benefiting us? And what can we do differently if it's not? So alongside this kind of, the mechanical time thing, there's, when it comes to clocks, we've also got this Gregorian calendar, and I've mentioned it a few times in my videos. And if you've ever been to a workshop with me or met me in person, it's something that I've probably spoken about, because again, You know, this Gregorian time framework was created in like the 1400s. It was the development of the calendar system that's kind of been around for a long while. But people were just basically adding a few days here, taking a few days away there. But since, I think it's like since the 1400s, maybe it's 1700s, correct me if I'm wrong, totally up to that. But for a short amount of time in the grand scheme of things, you know, we've been kind of living by this Gregorian calendar. Now, the Gregorian calendar is made up of 12 months. Now, astrologically or astronomically, that holds no significance whatsoever. So, yes, we do have this cycle of 365 days. That is a thing. And it's a thing there, and it's a thing here. It's something that we're actually experientially living, is that cycle. But this 12 months of unequal days is not a thing anywhere else. You know, like when it comes to the patterns of nature, when it comes to everything else that exists on this planet other than the human being and the human being mind, there's nothing that follows that pattern of the 12 months of unequal days. So what does that mean? What does that do to us? You know, we look at the world and the world is in chaos in a lot of ways. We look at our internal world and our internal world is in chaos in a lot of ways. And, you know, we have those moments of being able to go outside into nature and, you know, feel that alignment and feel the warmth of that and feel the settling of our energies. But this chaos, perhaps, you know, is something to do with this chaotic time framework that we're living within. Now, a lot of ancient communities and religions that still exist today lived astrologically and astronomically in alignment with the moon cycle. Now, as a woman, you know, my body is in alignment with that cycle naturally. That's what my body does. Yeah, so they've already, like, within my body, there's this different time frame. And this different time frame is mirrored on the outside with this cycle that we're constantly watching and living. You know, and this cycle governs the tides. You know, this moon cycle governs the water on the planet. And that's a big part of the planet. And that's a part of us too. You know, take what you will from that. But it's this energy again of, like, you know, the less aligned that we are with what's going on in our external reality and on our planet, how can we possibly be in alignment with anything, you know? So yeah, so with this time thing that we've kind of got going on, when you look at a lot of like the quantum physics world and, you know, people's theories about different things, you know, it's becoming increasingly suggested that reality is just a series of moments, one moment, but a series of realities like stacked all into one. So there's all of this potential, and everything that could possibly happen is happening in this exact moment. And, you know, the conscious awareness of the receiver that we are is what puts us into that certain reality frame. So even within this thing of like linear time, that doesn't exist either. You know, like this space-time thing, it's all dimensional. So I'm not going to go too out there with that because I don't personally comprehend it enough. I know, but I don't comprehend in the level to be able to relay it. But the reason that the reason that I share all of this, you know, is because it comes through me and because I get nudged to, because it comes from my heart, you know, and I really passionately feel, as you know, a lot of the people that have laid the ground for this and us that laid the ground that have now come back forward, whatever, which way we came. But it's this thing of like, you know, the whole time construct is something that we are all adhering to that's got an incredible influence on our collective reality. You know, whether you are an out there kind of person or an in here kind of person, like regardless of that, like nobody can deny the effect that linear time has on our reality. You know, we are governed by it. It is the government of the planet. It comes down to this time framework that we've got, yet it never gets questioned. And, you know, this is the thing, it's just like the given, which is really weird. And recently, you know, I've been having like super duper like head warps about it, in so much as like time zones. Me and somebody that I've recently connected to call it like TikTok time, which I love. Like he introduced me to that concept. But this idea of like TikTok time and how in different places on the planet, you know, connecting to one another within these different time zones, it spins me out. And, you know, I don't really know what that is, but I'm realizing, you know, I've kind of come back to the UK. So I've been living on the road. I still live on the road. But in the communities that I've been kind of moving through and the way that I've been living, I've not really had to be in the time framework. It's not really, yeah, it's not really been a thing. You know, there might be an appointment a week in which, you know, I kind of have to be like, okay, you know, what's the time, in order to make that commitment, you know, manifest or align with that or whatever the right terminology is. But yeah, then I've kind of come back to the UK for a couple of months where, you know, it's very, very heavily held by this, you know, time and date thing. And because I am trying to organize, or I am organizing, and maybe, you know, maybe this is something for me to look at. I'll get back to the end of that thought once I've said this one. But perhaps, you know, all of this, I've had to kind of align with this time framework because I'm doing so much. And that it just feels like I'm chasing my tail. And, you know, the other thing that I was going to say then was, you know, maybe through this act of the masculine energy of attempting to override and do, and not being in this receptive feminine, okay, I'm going to wait and see what comes to me and what unfolds. You know, perhaps that is why I'm chasing my tail, you know, and maybe again, when it kind of comes to this year that we're in of like the red moon year of receptivity, perhaps, you know, the greatest teaching this year is going to be for us to be able to experientially learn and embody the understanding that we don't need to do anything. Everything can flow and happen through us, you know, but it's this weird time thing. And you know, I don't have answers. I know people that feel that they do have answers, and that's incredible. But all I know is that through aligning with Gregorian time, we're in chaos, you know, and this sort of 5 days working, 2 days off, blah, 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 blah. Like, we are so governed by the time and we didn't choose it. And, you know, what effect does that have? So, as you know, a lot of you know, well, potentially, you know, I don't know if you actually know, but my heart passion, like I know that one of the huge things that I'm here to do and to bring forward and to manifest is, you know, around our children and the experiences that young people have in early childhood, because that sets up the coding and the wounding and the experience for what continues to unfold for the rest of their lives, unless, you know, they're working on their shadow and the wounding and all of the rest of it. So my whole thing is like, okay, let's create a completely different method of schooling or schooling, you know, because at the moment, yeah, and for the foreseeable future, potentially, you know, children have basically got to go somewhere because adults need to go and do their thing. So that's essentially what it comes down to when we're talking about schooling and why schools exist. Oh, yeah, it's because we want to educate our children. Is that the first priority? No, it's not. The first priority is mummy and daddy, or carer, or mummy and daddy, or whatever the parenting situation is, has to go out to work. So therefore, you need to go somewhere. So off you trot. And off you trot to what? This like crazy institution that hasn't been updated in a very long time, that's very much governed by this time thing. And, you know, this like pass and fail, this regurgitation of information, it's flawed. And a lot of us know that it's flawed. So I know that I'm here to do something with that, whether it's creating alternatives or whether it's having an impact on what's going on right now. I don't know yet. It's unfolding as it unfolds. But I do know and feel that a really big element of what this new schooling paradigm is going to be is free of time. You know, it's stepping into a very different time framework. And as with language, you know, I can see it being like so the primary time is this like 13 moon galactic time. And then the secondary time within the school will be the Gregorian calendar, you know? So, like, yeah, you go to an English speaking school, but they also learn French or vice versa or whatever, you know? And just like really taking away this time because look at kids, they don't know time, they haven't got this framework, it's not imprinted on them yet. And think of your childhood memories. The summer holidays lasted forever. Your clock was daylight. You'd go out when it was light and you'd come home when it was dark. And during that time, you weren't being aware, you weren't aware of what time it was, you know, unless it was tea time and your mum would be like, yeah, get back inside because you need to eat your tea. And then you stop your tea and you get back outside again. But this whole thing of like, children are free of it. Children are free of so much of the conditioning, you know, naturally. But then we imprint all of these conditioned codes onto them, which then create more of the same. So if we can create a situation where instead of it overlaying these codes of this third dimensional reality that is very much based in wounding and money and fear, and I'm not saying that money is necessarily a bad thing, energy is not a bad thing, but money and debt and fear and all of that, blah, yeah, we overlay all of this shit onto children and therefore they then create it. Whereas what if we created a space where that wasn't being overlaid on them anymore? You know, what if we created a space where we were exploring and having fun and playing? I'm going to blog a little bit about green school in Bali because it's something that totally touched my heart and opened everything up. And, you know, and I've worked within Steiner settings and there are so many, you know, alternatives going on which are incredible. It's all about holistic education. So it's all about, you know, doing things that mean something and everything fitting together. So you're doing a project and within that project you're learning lots of different things. You're excited, you're enthralled. You're not just sat in a classroom with a dictator at the front telling you that you're wrong or patting you on the back because you're right. Ugh. So yes, time. Aligning to the new time, aligning to an alternative time is a very powerful portal for opening up a new dimension, you know, and I've experienced that in my life and the way that I'm living now and the experiences that I'm having now and the deja vus and the synchronicities, you know, it's all time. And it's powerful and we're ready to align to something different. Even when we're like unconsciously aligning with something, we're choosing it. So even though the majority of people are unconsciously aligning with this time framework, because, well, what are we going to do if they're not doing that? It's a choice. You know, it's a choice, and we've got a choice for absolutely every little building block of our reality. And yeah, okay, on some level we don't because we've got wounding, which means that we're constantly going around the same cycles until we do something about that. But at the same time, you know, if we're going to align with something without thinking about it, without considering it, without feeling into it, that's still a choice, you know, even if we're doing it by accident, even if it's unconscious. So yeah, I got a little nudge to make this video, so I listened, and aligning with alternative time frameworks is totally a really big key. It's a really big key that ancient civilizations very much explored, and we've kind of gone like, ooh, kind of forgotten that we're here to explore things and expand. So let's do something about this. So yeah, sending you loads and loads of love, and I apologise if that's triggered anybody, and also if it has triggered you, good luck in transforming what the trigger is. And yeah, time. More downloads as they come. Sending you loads of love. Take care.